Villavicencio
bets
le
on
apuesta a la
agroecological
producción
production.
agroecológica.
Este atractivo proyecto se maneja en un área aproximada de tan solo 3 hectáreas.
This attractive project is managed in an approximate area of only 3 hectares. Here are developed agricultural and livestock activities with great respect for the environment, an initiative that aims to improve life in the countryside and contribute significantly to preserve the environment. This project is exemplary at the local level in the municipality of Villavicencio, because it has a harmony of different projects, which harmonize with each other, and what they seek in the end is both economic, social and environmental sustainability. The Moniyamena farm in Hutitoto language, which means tree of abundance, became, after several years of work, a school where organic production is promoted. Before this it was an ordinary pasture, but as we got to know different experiences, ways of working the land and respecting the land for production, we implemented these changes on the farm. We were really experimenting, and the farm is still in an experimental stage, because this is not over. It is difficult to say that we have finished, because the truth is that it seems that we are just beginning. The more we learn, how we need to know more. Here we have the garden, in a mandala application, which we really had to reform a little bit, to prevent erosion by rain. That's why we had to put all these barriers, these sticks, so that it really does not take the fertilizer. There are a number of plants that are aromatic, medicinal. We have a variety of products for bread, but really all farms we could all have a garden in the house, very fast process. We can get them with the climate that is giving us, and it should be a way to have a garden in the house, medicinal plants. We have a great variety of bread products, but really all the farms we could all have a vegetable garden in the house, a very fast process. We can obtain them with the climate that is giving us, and it should be a form of self-sustaining and self-sustainable. Here we have green roofs, which at the moment are a little brown, but basically the concept is to cover the roofs with organic matter, with vegetable matter, in order to reduce solar radiation on the tiles and the rebound of radiation, which would reach the atmosphere. We reduce the impact on the environment. In that way, additionally we improve the comfort inside the house, because the temperature decreases a lot. We can grow crops, because at this time it is a little critical. However, there is something green, that as soon as the first water arrives, it comes back again and leaves. What do we do there? A carbon capture, on an inert surface, such as a tile, and additionally we can have a crop inside the house. All the houses in the world should be with a green roof, to avoid that radiation, at the same time have an economic income, or at least, a vegetable garden or something like that.
La piscicultura pues nació a raíz de que vimos tanta agua sobre el prado.
The fish farm was born because we saw so much water on the meadow. We did not know what to do. We made a first well. We did not fill them very easily because of the amount of rain in this area. It is very strong in the winter season. We could practically maintain the fish farm with rainwater, with water harvesting, and a little bit that comes from the sidewalk, a half-inch, which really makes us as for maintenance, and well at this time is critical, and if we can see it, it is fine, with water harvesting and a little bit that comes from the sidewalk, a half-inch, which really makes us as for maintenance, and well at this time is the critical time, and if we can see the fish farming is fine. But thanks to this reservoir of water harvesting that we had initially.
Y obtenemos a cambio miel, por una parte, y el proceso de la polinización que es tan importante y que debemos preservar la polinización en este momento.
Another work that we are doing, another process that here in the farm is the meliponiculture, which is working with stingless bees. We can have them anywhere near the house because they really do not present any problem, have them food like flowers, wild plants and some plants that they love, such as cotton, which they love, the amount of flowers, and we get in return honey on the one hand and the pollination process that is so important. Flowers, wild plants and some plants that they love, for example cotton, which they love, the amount of flowers, and in exchange we get honey on the one hand and the process of pollination which is so important, that we must preserve pollination at this time, which is critical in the world, which are running out due to the amount of applications of agro-inputs, which are made. Meliponiculture is giving us an alternative to collaborate with the environment and also with us. Because the production of honey is very special with these bees. With the use of microvials from vegetables, animal excreta, harvest byproducts and organic residues, fertilizers and biofertilizers are produced. The production of fertilizers, all of this we have worked on. We have seen how the farmers do it and how nature itself produces its own fertilizers, to work the different crops that we have here. Right now we are in the compost processor, which is a very important place for us, because it is where we bring most of the organic waste from the farm, such as leaves, fruit waste, crop waste, and we bring them here and start a mineralization process. This process is really called composting. Although it is not composting, this compost is chopped with a scythe, all the leaves. To accelerate the process, we add water. An accelerant such as cattle manure, a cloak of bush or a damaged yogurt. Agua panela, what we have surplus, to start the process of mineralization. This was done yesterday and here we have a temperature close to 40 degrees. This can reach 60 degrees of temperature, which is happening right now. All the thermophiles are working at this moment. What it does is that after 37 degrees of temperature, all pathogens begin to die and only the beneficial microorganisms remain. We have to do some flipping so that the whole sample is homologated. It is important to give back to nature what we took out of it in some way, with a little bit of fertilizer. From this we are going to increase the possibilities of a plant that has a much higher fertilization than if we work with chemicals. This really is a high-quality organic process and a low-cost fertilizer, but very effective. This is an anaerobic fermented liquid manure. Contains, in the first third of the can, plants that contain a lot of protein, as is the Mataraton, nettle, buttercup, cayenne. All these plants have a high protein content, according to the primers of ICA. Then we add water and dissolve sulfates, copper sulfate, borax, boric acid, a number of elements depending on the type of crop to be fertilized. Additionally we give molasses. The microorganisms that we add are fresh cow manure, which is the one that has an amount of rumen of the animal. It has many microorganisms. This produces a gas that basically is methane and other things. Through this trap we make the gas come out but the oxygen does not enter, so that it is an anaerobic process. They have achieved with the use of clean technologies to avoid environmental deterioration. Initially by the need that we are in the field to have to really use the processes that occur here, we wanted to find out how to make a vertical type biodigester. We appropriated that, we installed it, and we saw that if it gives a successful result, but to achieve it was difficult because we had to find a balance between carbon and nitrogen. The carbon is given by all the leaves and waste that we have, and the nitrogen is offered by the cattle manure. In this case it is a vertical biodigester, which works with several little things. for example on this side comes out all the liquids, here the solids, and here is coming out the gas that serves us for the reservoir. By means of a system that is very artisanal, very empirical, still very much of design, lacking the design of the pilot, we can give pressure to the bag so that the gas comes out a little more strongly and can enter the stove and make the combustion. Here we see the wastewater treatment plant that comes from the house and from the public bathrooms, and we have an anaerobic stage that initially consists of 3 tanks. One that receives, that is called the skimmer, receives the material because it has pebbles or anything that arrives and goes to the next tank, which is where there is a retention of liquids so that there is a process of digestion of the material. Once the liquids are retained, the liquids are kept there and are passed to the next and last tank, which is the one that has a filter, so that all the solid materials can stay there, in this tank. This part is anaerobic because we try not to have bad odors, and on the other hand there is a good digestion of the waste. We also use some solar energy for the lighting of the house so that I can take advantage of the fact that there is this benefit of nature in this part of the tropics. With these options they seek to optimize and reuse waste from the farm, as well as what is produced on it, as is the case of the guajua grown here in the plains. We are demonstrating with the cultivation that we have 3 stands of guajua here on the farm. We are demonstrating that the guajua from the plains is also as effective and more cost-effective than the one from the coffee axis. The one from the coffee axis is very good, it has a certification, while in the meta we do not have certification of guajua. But we are demonstrating that the guajua is already useful to us, making in the culture, the development, the benefit that the guajua should have, and we can demonstrate that we have constructions of 9 to 10 years here in the farm with guajua of the same farm, the bathrooms, the roof, everything with guajua, and the different facilities have the process of the guajua. Another of the alternatives that the farm has, in the saponification, it is made by means of an acid and a fat. At this moment we are using chicken fat, that first the greaves become greaves, the oil is removed, it is filtered and it is united with a base, which is the caustic soda, and there begins the process of the saponification. It takes more or less a month, a long month, it takes about a month, a long month, to be able to obtain a soap all ready for use. Aloe vera and sodium bicarbonate are added to soften it more. Additionally you can add colors or some additional odorants, but this is an alternative that is also available for the field, that people have the possibility to do it, and it is a way to show that also in the field things can be reused, as is the case with the chicken fat. We also have a roque stove, which is the one that gives us to do the cooking processes, for when the groups came in a roque stove that is highly efficient, thanks to its carburetor, takes the wood to make a rapid passage of fire, oxygen, through the sticks and increases the temperature in a very strong way. Today it is a necessity for humanity to go towards sustainable production systems and that are harmonized with life. Within the government plan of Mayor Felipe Garma, clearly stipulated that the idea of developing the municipality, the rural sector, through agroecological processes, that is what we want to do locally on each farm. If we achieve that each one of the properties of the municipality is developed in a sustainable way, we are going to contribute in a very important way to the development of the country, in a sustainable way, and we will be a national example, even internationally, as a municipality that develops in a sustainable way framed also in the Millennium Goals.
Si logramos que cada una de las propiedades del municipio se desarrolle de forma sostenible, vamos a contribuir de forma muy importante al desarrollo del país de forma sostenible y seremos un ejemplo nacional, incluso internacional, como un municipio que se desarrolla de forma sostenible, enmarcado también en los objetivos del milenio.